airport and got on the road.
You see that? No, I totally get that. Yeah.
Good day, everybody. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for joining us. You know what I'm saying? You look what I got. I got Dr. Elisa World. We're back. We're back. We're back. And right now is this what we call the weekend review. You have the predator and you have the prey. You have the beauty and you have the beast. And once again, right now, I'm not going to take the title of beauty today. I'm going to take the title of the beast. You know, but folks, listen, folks. What we want people to get to understand, like with the platform, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you share, make sure you hit the notification button. We got a lot of good things planned out. We going forward with a lot of different things. And what we trying to do is right now, how do we take our community back? One step at a time. So right now, with no further ado, here go my co-host, the lovely Dr. Elisa World.
Hello, 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 beautiful people. How are you? I'm so happy you guys will join us. Do we have people in? I'm not even looking
Yes,
at.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, we
do we?
do.
Okay, hello, hello. You're on time. When you're on time, I'm messing around with my phone, so forgive me. But I'm happy to be here. And look at you, Big Brother Glaze. That's what that stands for to me, Big Brother Glaze. So, how are you? I see you
I'm
look a
good.
little tired today.
Yeah, man, I am. Hey, look, I've been traveling this week. I've been traveling this week, man. I got a chance to meet.
I
Shout
see
out to
where
my.
you are. Little outdoor
Hey,
curtains and things to do. It looks really like
I got a chance to meet my brother Terrence,
luxurious.
Terrence Gangster Williams. Shout out to wow.
You guys, I can't with you guys at all. Like, first of all, let me say this to the brother gangster. When you go to shake his hand, brother gotta be ready. Gotta be ready. Gangster,
That's
gangster,
that's
where
the
are
that
you?
that's critique fault. That's critique fault. That's
Oh, okay.
critique fault.
Oops, I stand
Critique was
corrected. See, I'm
critique
trying
was
to
critique
trying to protect
critique
the
was be
brother, and here he
critique
go.
was critique was behind the camera. So that's critique fault. So
Critique.
I see you. I don't see you studio. That was his
He
fault.
obviously wasn't seeing a lot that
Yeah.
time because that he missed the whole shot. You went to go
Wah.
in and poor get. Now I'm going to give it up to. He wasn't really looking down at your hands. He was looking above. He was looking. He was looking the whole other way. But you could see that the energy was good. The connection was real, and you guys have big things ahead of you. So yeah, you can feel that through that
we
exchange.
we
So,
we got a lot of good things coming out. Critique did some. He shot some footage. Hopefully right now Terrence will be dropping it on his platform. I will be dropping it on my platform. And like I said, once again, shout out to Terrence Gangster William. Like I tell you right now, he is who he is. When you meet him, that's I'm talking about real genuine, real unique, real sincere. Like I told you, nothing but love for the brother. So what we're gonna do is we're going to talk about today, like I'm saying right now, the weekend review. And one of the things, like I said right now, is what we're talking about is mental health. Whereas, like, you brought it to my attention. I heard about it or whatever. How this young man, okay, I think he was 29 years old in Oklahoma. How right now is, I don't know what he was going through, but I guess he got into a domestic, domestic situation with his wife or his girl.
mhm.
And right now is, how do a domestic argument, a dispute, leading to him murdering three innocent kids and himself? To me, I don't care what the situation. I'm not in that man. I'm not in that man's situation. I'm not in his shoes. I don't know what he was going through upstairs, but how did it got to the point in time that whatever he was going through, he killed his three kids along with himself?
Hmm. Yeah, may they rest in peace. And these are the kinds of situations that they're very difficult to define, to explain, to make sense of. So I'm not going to attempt to do that, nor am I in the position to diagnose anyone in this particular setting and format. But could it have been? No, no, but let me scratch but. And could it have been? that he really did snap? Could it have been that he was suffering with some form of depression for a very long time? Could it have been that he was using certain drugs that altered his mind, his thinking, to the point that he became that psychotic? Um, we have many unanswered questions, but we have four individuals dead. And I do believe we cannot, as a community, ignore this at all. We must be outraged. We must try to figure out what was going on. We should learn from these situations. We cannot become numb to this level of violence. Uh, and it's a very concerning situation. Now we have a mother who has lost four children, and to deal with that level of grief is unimaginable. So, yes, as a society, as a community, particularly this gentleman happened to be a male of color, and 30 years old. So he was relatively young, but old enough to know better. Again, right from wrong. There had been some uh, information that was shared that he had gone on Facebook Live and was ranting about certain things that were going on in his life with the relationship and threatened to do this. And a family member did reach out, but it was too late. Uh, but again, did she? He was left with the children. So did he ever show any history of the capacity to do this? There's so many unanswered questions, and I would love to dig deeper.
Okay. You know what? For those of you just joining us, what we're speaking about, memorial for three children killed and murder suicide continue to grow as office so release a new detail. Oklahoma City, a memorial continued to grow at the scene of where Oklahoma City police say a Metro father killed his three young children, then turned a gun on himself. An iron cross, flower, balloon, candles, and stuffed animal are placed along the neighborhood street near Hefner and Council, where the children died. Three care babies wards, three care bears was placed at the memorial, one for each child. All I could think about is this mom, what she must be going through, say Amber, who left a card with word of encouragement for the mother of the children. Like, I put so sorry for your loss, say Terry, who also left a card. This neighborhood is praying and thinking about you. Terry and Amber are continuing to learn new detail about the horrific scene that unfolded on their street early Saturday morning. At 4:14 a.m., Oklahoma City police say they got a call from a family member, alerting officer about a disturbing video the children's father, Francisco Littlejohn, posted online. He was live broadcasting, making threat about harming himself and harming children, say M. Sergeant Gary Knight with Oklahoma Police Department. We had a lot of officers flooding the street. We was in the process of issuing an amber alert. What officer didn't know, down the street from the Little John household, the 29-year-old father had already done the unthinkable. He executed the three children he had in the car, his own children, and then turned the gun on himself.
Mm, mm. Yeah. Something obviously triggered him, and we'll really never know what exactly was going on. But to get to the point where you actually murder your children and harm yourself, you are really in a very dark place. And it's unfortunate that the society. I mean, when I say society, meaning this the in terms of how we address mental health is very self-determined when we're adults, and so people usually need to recognize that perhaps there is a problem, or someone around you will need to help you sort of figure out what's going on with you and sort of push you towards sort of seeking additional support and treatment or assessments to determine what's going on with you. But it's something that you don't necessarily understand what's going on in your body and your mind. So you don't know whether or not you're dealing with depression or dealing with some kind of psychosis or some other brain disorder. So it's very difficult for these kinds of situations to be avoided because you really need to understand yourself as a human being, as an individual, what kind of traumas you're dealing with, how are you going to address the pain in your life, how are you going to heal from that pain, what types of interventions would support you so that you don't feel that level of mental discomfort. So there's so many, again, unanswered questions around this situation. But I do believe as a community, the Black community, we need to be very aware how serious mental illness is. And 1 in 3 people of color, Black people, that are actually diagnosed with the mental illness actually receive treatment.
Like you say, one in every three,
1 in 3.
one in
Yep,
every three.
1 in 3.
And even
Mhm.
right now, like for example, like to the degree, what is the sign? What is the telling sign that people can determine, like, like, wait a minute, something is wrong with me? Like, how do folks that haven't been diagnosed with mental illness, how can they determine that they are, what I'm saying, they got an issue, they have a problem, they have mental illness?
Right. I mean, it just depends on what we're talking about in general. So, for example, you may see things where people have excessive worrying or fear. They may feel like excessively sad or low, confused in their thinking, extreme mood changes, prolonged or strong feelings, or irritability, or anger. People often avoid their friends and social activities because they somewhat want to isolate. uh, Difficulties understanding or relating to others, changing in their sleep, again, change in sleep and sleep habits, eating habits, sex drive. There's so many of symptoms that are signs that that manifest in a person, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's mental illness, or it's difficult sometimes for you to just say target it as mental illness. You would need to somewhat understand or know the individual to say something isn't right here, something doesn't feel right. I mean, certainly you would want to see some of these things and be observant around these kinds of behaviors or changes, but it's not easily defined. It can be other reasons why you're not eating as much, or your eating habits have changed, or your energy is low, or your sex drive is low. Like, there can be a number of reasons for that. So do you just attribute that to mental illness? No. I think definitely feelings of feeling sad or low or in a dark place, you as a friend or a family knowing that someone may have experienced something in their life recently, or about traumas in their past. I think having some historical reference helps you to make a determination of whether or not an individual around you may be experiencing some of the symptoms associated with mental illness. But it's also important for us to be self-aware, so we understand how our body functions and how our mind functions, and when we're not really feeling 100%.
You know what? Like, even with that, like, really understanding our body, understanding our state of mind, understanding, like our behavior pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I posted a year ago, and it came back on my timeline, and it's called things to normalize for Black men. One,
Mm-hmm.
going to therapy. Two,
Mm-hmm.
asking for help. Three, mental health issue. Four, showing emotion. Five, speaking up.
Mm-hmm.
Six, not being okay. So when you sit back and you think about these things, and a lot of times, like, we can be going through things, but if you cannot put your hands on it and identify, how will you know what you're going through? And to me, in order to get help, like for example, what would cause this 29-year-old man
Mm-hmm.
from Oklahoma, what would cause him to snap? What would cause him to commit such a deadly act of taking a life of his 3 children along with himself, from four, five, six, and himself? Like, what the heck happened? Like, like, what the hell he was going through? And to me, a lot of times right now is, we can't judge people until we're able to put our foot in their shoes and understand what they're going through. But to me, like, even if it got to that damn point and you got so upset or you got so angry, like, hold up, wait a minute here. It got to be a better way. It got to be another way. So I don't quite get that. Like, what caused this man, I'm saying, literally to just snap out and base you right now and take the life of his kids? I understand if you want to do something to yourself, these kids haven't even lived. They
Mm,
don't know what I'm just trying to say, you brought them into this world. You're supposed to be protecting them, not, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. We as people, especially as men, we got to start holding ourselves accountable. And
mm,
whereas if you notice something is off track, right now, if you having problem right now is with anything, your appetite, your sleep, or your sex drive, whatever, like,
mm-hmm,
something's off, something's wrong, something's
mm-hmm,
not right. It's
mm-hmm.
no, it's nothing to be ashamed about to get help. Saying what is a shame is when you don't get help, when you allow certain things to get blown out of content, and right now you commit an act that you live to regret. That's what's a shame.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because in the Black community, mental health issues or issues of an inability to sort of cope with life is seen as a weakness. And so you're not really, because of that stigma, you don't necessarily feel equipped to or feel encouraged or motivated to seek out mental health support for anything that's going on with you in that way. And so that in itself, that stigma really needs to change. That it is a sign of personal weakness when you're unable to cope with life. That's what it sort of, mental illness is deduced to an inability to cope with life, and that's absolutely what it is not. you know and that's what's unfortunate about it, that we as a community, and it differs, it depends, on a number of things. I mean, we also have sort of collective issues as a community that we deal with around racism and certain inequities, and financial disparities and disproportionality in various systems and criminal justice and child welfare. So we share a collective trauma and pain that often is masked. It will actually mask other things that are really going on with us, and I think that is also a concern.
But to me, even like suffering from PTSD, growing up in the concrete jungle and becoming who I became.
Mm-hmm.
And really, like I said right now, when it was suggested that I needed help, I didn't want to accept that. I couldn't see that. But as time went on, you had to see things for yourself. And to me, if I didn't accept the fact that I needed help and start doing the things I need to do to become the person I am today, then guess what? I would have still been that lost soul. And a lot of times, like I always try to tell people, it's nothing wrong with expressing yourself. If you feel like crying, and a lot of times men feel, because I'm a man, I don't supposed to cry. I don't agree with that. Right now is I'm a man. I'm supposed to be strong. I don't need no help. I don't agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Those are a key ingredient to set ourselves up to fail. Because once again, even as a man, even as a woman, we all need help. We all need guidance. We all
Absolutely.
need direction. And if you don't get that help, that guidance, and that direction, what you're doing is you setting yourself up for failure. And there's nothing wrong with that. So for years, I was in denial. But
Mm-hmm.
once I got out of my own way and stopped being my own worst enemy and started getting the help that I needed from a psychological standpoint, I became a better person. But it wasn't overnight.
Right. And so what tools did you use in order to make that transformation?
The major tools, honestly speaking, was honesty. Like
Mm,
right now, I'm being honest with myself. Right
mm-hmm.
now, it's coming clean. I have a problem. It's
Mm-hmm.
no different than right now is how can you treat somebody with addiction if they in denial?
Right.
So right now, if I continue to be in denial, there's nothing wrong with me. Like all of us going to say and do, it's nothing wrong with me. I'm normal. No, you have to wait a minute, man. If I were normal, then I wouldn't allow this situation that was like a anthill turn into a mountain if I was
Mm,
normal. If I was
mhm.
normal or whatever, I wouldn't allow because somebody didn't speak to me. I exploded. You didn't. No. So a lot of times, what you have to do is right now accept the responsibility that guess what, our behavior, our action, our response, all those are a direct indicator, and that alarm system go off that something is wrong.
Right, and poor impulse control, and again, an inability to self-regulate. And so, who actually checks you around those things? Are you sort of self-checking, which is something that's important with any illness, right? So you feel something going wrong or feeling really uncomfortable in your body, you then go and see a doctor to see if you can get some kind of diagnosis. Who helps someone to know that, the way you're talking to me or to people in the community or to your family is disrespectful, or it's coming across very aggressive or agitated? Who allows people to check them in that way, and are we comfortable checking each other in that way?
And for the most part, we're not.
Right.
But once again,
Correct.
it had to be, it's not what we say, it's how we say it. It's not what we
Right.
do, it's how we do it. Whereas when you can, like even right now, before we went live, and I asked you a question, I said, you know what? Okay, look yourself in the mirror. Because once again, that's what we have to do. We have to constantly keep looking ourselves in the mirror and hold ourselves accountable. When you see something's amiss, something's off track, something's not right, then we are the person that, wait a minute here, we know what is normal than what is not
Right.
normal within ourselves. Because
Absolutely.
we are the individual that deal with ourselves each and every day for 24 hours a day, seven
Hmm.
days a week. 365 days a year. If it's leap year, 366. So what you have to do is you have to check yourself. And then you can't be afraid of when you go to people and you explain. So you can't go and seek help if you're not going to be completely honest in the process. If
Right.
you go and seek help, it's like me going to a medical doctor and I'm telling them I'm sick. So the doctor give me something for my stomach. Wait a minute. It's not my stomach, it's my head. But once again, if I don't come and give him crystal clear, I'm saying, information to help him troubleshoot what is wrong, how in the
Hmm.
hell can he diagnose the problem? He's not going to diagnose the problem unless I'm able to be completely honest. And
Hmm.
most of, from a man's standpoint, we're going to hold back. But once again, what you have to do is, in order to get the proper help that you need to get cured or to get back on right track from having any type of form of mental illness, you have to be completely honest. If you're not able to be completely honest, you setting yourself up to fail.
Right. If your stomach aches, why tell them it's actually your back? If your back, if it's your stomach that's aching, why would you tell the doctor your back hurts? You need to be completely honest about what actually is bothering you. And again, I think that Black men particularly feel like it's some kind of sign of weakness, or it challenges their manhood or their sense of masculinity, why they don't necessarily seek help for many of the issues that are related to mental health and mental illness.
Yeah.
Another thing in our community is that we often over rely on our faith based institutions to kind of help us as our central source of strength. And so, in doing that, you feel often that, particularly when it's something related to your mental or emotional health, you feel like if I turn to God, God can fix it, because you haven't really uh, accepted that mental health is a real and very, very serious disease.
So right now is, but it's nothing wrong with no prayer, no power. Less prayer, less power. More prayer, more power. Much prayer, much power. But right now, it's nothing wrong with praying. But the difference is when you pray, you still have to take other necessary step. Because once again, once you hit rock bottom, guess what? If you don't take the necessary step, you're gonna stay there. You're gonna stay in that darkness. You're gonna stay in that situation of being bleak. And you have to basically, like I told you, when I was away and I went through everything I went through, and I start like finding the right people that I can, how can I say, confide.
Mm. That the
express.
trust issue. Mm-hmm.
I'm saying express and listen to the feedback and taking heed to the feedback I was receiving. Because once again, you can come across people that's in that field that they, okay, cool. It become a dog and pony show. I'm not, whether you, okay, if you let me help you, I'm gonna help you. But right now, you got some folks that they take their job serious and they gonna dig deep. They gonna go fishing. They gonna pull it out of you. They gonna
Mm-hmm.
pull each and every teeth. Come on, more, more, more. They're gonna
Mm-hmm.
try to pull that negative, all that whatever you're going through. They're gonna try to pull it out to get
Mm-hmm.
all that poison and negative out of your system once and for all. But in order for them to do that or whatever, you got to be very, very receptive. And right now, if you're not receptive, then guess what? You kind of like wasting your time.
Well, definitely faith and spirituality can help in the recovery process, and there's certainly a connection to that. But the one thing you should be praying for, that I accept that there's something that is wrong with me, and how do you motivate me and move me towards trying to seek some kind of professional intervention to help address the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I told you, a lot of things like to me, even with the situation, and like I told you right now, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying to the kids, and right now was the selling. May so rest in peace and spirit be lifted. My deepest condolences to the family because once again, like I told you, people don't understand right now when you got to deal with a death. You know, say especially right now is when a parent got to bury their child. I think right now that's the most devious or the hardest thing to deal with. More so than anything. So right now, those that are out there, it's nothing wrong with getting help, man. It's nothing
No.
wrong with admitting that what, like something is not going right upstairs. It's the way that I'm thinking, man. Even if you start having a bunch of evil, devious thought, thinking about hurting you or hurting somebody, run out and get help, man. Try,
Mm-hmm.
man. Go out there and run. Get help. Because once again, you got professional people that do take their job seriously and will help you to the best of their ability. But right now is guess what? I can't feed you if I don't know that you're hungry. So right
Mm-hmm.
now is take it for somebody that me, myself, I was that individual. I still go through my little trial and tribulation, but I know what I need to do in order, I'm saying, to keep everything intact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And people are probably thinking, how do you reach out for help? There's so many, hotline numbers now. Now there's a mental health hotline number, the 988. That's a place to call. There's a suicide hotline that you can also call for that kind of immediate intervention and referral support. And people need to understand that if you feel uncomfortable, that maybe a provider doesn't necessarily understand your culture or your race or ethnicity, ask them, like, what is your understanding of mental health in people of color? Like, what is your understanding of, mental health in women? Like, really be very honest. You wouldn't go to, a nephrologist if you have an oncology issue. You're dealing with cancer, right? So, not every doctor can cure every situation that you have. So it's important for you, like you said, Glaze, is to be very honest and transparent about what you're feeling, what you're going through. The first person you would probably want to help and support you would be your primary care doctor or some, primary care physician that you trust, and they can then help you also to make referrals to qualified providers, mental health providers. So um, I think the first step is always staying on top of your physical health, and your primary care doctor can support you along the way.
And you know what? And that is a good point because a lot of times right now people do not really have, nobody that they can tune into. So
Right,
once
that's
again,
it.
even right now where it's like I done spoke on certain situation and different outlet, and right afterwards, whereas like you try to open up to the forum, open up to the floor,
Hmm.
and you'd be surprised. Like some people will be, yeah, they'll interact, ask certain question or whatever, and some people wait and pull you to the side and they'll speak about different things or they ask you certain things or whatever. And right now was I used to tell them the time like right now was like doing like the very beginning of the process when I used to take medicine every day, and
Mm,
everybody looking at like, yo, wait a minute here, because people don't want to admit to that. The difference is right now I used to take my medicine like clockwork.
Mm.
like looking at it, and right now was me and some of the folks like, what you take? And we wind up finding that we're taking the same medication or whatever. And it's like whatever you need to do
Mm-hmm.
to maintain that healthy space, to maintain that right state of mind, that was part of my recovery process of being free for 25 years, getting
Mm.
necessary help. And
Mm.
to me, like I said right now, was it just got to that point in time that in my process, I became more healthier, stronger, that I didn't no longer need the medication. But once again, you got to take ownership, and you can't be afraid or ashamed, because if ever come back a time that I feel I need to take it again before I hit a relapse, guess what I'll be doing? I will be taking my medication.
Good for you. Good for you. And what a beautiful way to frame a very difficult um, admission of like how you're able to cope. And I think people don't fully understand that you cannot always use talk therapy to treat a particular mental illness or a brain disorder. Sometimes it does require a medication or pharmacological intervention, and it does require you to be stabilized through medication, particularly serious mental illness like, schizophrenia or bipolar or severe depression. Those sorts of illnesses do require sometimes, maybe even on a short-term basis, a medication intervention. So that was very powerful. And thank you.
Shout out to, I see people coming in. Shout out to Renee. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Peace to my brother, Gardner Street. Peace, my brother. Keep it going. Mental health is very important in our community. You know, right now, MD3, the sniper. Good evening, all blessing to everyone who's tuning in. And that's what it's all about, because once again, like you said right now, is it's a lot of things that we are ashamed or we're afraid to talk about. And that's what we got to get back to the basic. That guess what? On this platform, okay, right now, on the Predator and the Prey, the Beauty and the Beast, on this podcast, guess what? Nothing is untouched. We're gonna be able, whether I feel comfortable or not, guess what? That young lady right there across that screen gonna make me feel comfortable. We gonna talk about that. All right, you take the lead, and there's nothing wrong with that, because once again, what might be her strength might be my weakness, or vice versa. But how do we build on top of that? But once again, when you're afraid to touch a subject matter, guess what's going to happen? You're going to lose. And we're not here to lose. We're here to take this platform and utilize it and reach as many lost souls that's out there, are people that's looking to receive.
And I think what's also very courageous about this podcast is that although I may be the person that holds the degree and have a certain level of what you call sort of institutional sort of knowledge around certain things, you have the lived experience. And I also think that many times males of color, Black men particularly, their voice is always sort of flooded or faded out, and people don't always listen or hear them. And so I want this to be an opportunity where people can hear from you in a way that is transparent, honest, and engaging, and that you're speaking to things that everyone has dealt with, whether it's relationships, health issues, formerly incarcerated, employed, home ownership, like anything, you've been there. So when people try to diminish Black men, you're here to lift them up. And I think that's an awesome thing. And I'm here to support you every step of the way.
And thank you. I appreciate that. On to other news. To
Yes.
me, like right now is when I heard about, the ex-president Trump, how his his castle, how his castle in Florida was raided by the FBI. And you know what right now is, even when I heard that, first of all, like to me, and I was gonna do a piece, like, with Donald Trump. And the piece I was gonna do is right now is, who's a Teflon Don? Is John Gotti, was John Gotti Teflon Don, or is, I'm saying, Trump the Teflon Don? His name is Don, because once again, like the stuff that he got away with,
Mm.
even when he was running for president, and all the allegation and the sexual abuse and grabbing women by the private part and all the stuff that he did. those would have got so many people disqualified as
Right.
far as in the beginning of the campaign, but for some reason it didn't. It's like this cat couldn't do no wrong. Who the heck you know? And I'm talking about in a one term got impeached. You know what I'm saying? Right now they had the hearing to impeach him twice. That's unheard of. And that's what I'm trying to tell you right now is like, what's wrong with this individual? Like right now is like, you think you're above the law. I am totally baffled about this whole situation with him and why in the heck he keep escaping. Because once again, when they keep coming at you, are they trying to impeach you? Are they trying to bring up criminal charges there? In order for them to do that, it had to be a smoking gun. It had to be some wrongdoing on his behalf.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whew. The Trump conversation is so complicated. And so I feel like if the feds are raiding former president's home, the rest of us really need to be on the lookout or on the careful because there's a lot to be said about the PPP loans and everything else. Clearly, Trump has a certain background and when he was in office and the things that he said um, certainly put him in a spotlight as being someone that was definitely not in support of marginalized people. Uh, and that being said, also I think there's a reason why they keep putting him in the media, and why is he still a conversation 2 years later? Like I'm not really clear about the agenda around that and why he's still someone that is relevant. Like what is really going on? What did they even accomplish by raiding his house? What were they going to find 2 years later? What was they trying to what were they looking for?
You know what? Right now is for something that I read as early as today was that he had like classic, what I'm saying,
Classified.
document,
Mm-hmm.
classified documents
Mm-hmm.
that, as far as regards to nuclear weapons, that he should not have taken out of the White House. So once again, when you sit back and you think about it, some of his relationship with other countries, I'm not going to say nobody in particular,
Mm-hmm.
like Russia, but once again, when you sit back and you think
You're
about it,
not going to say anyone particular, but Russia.
but
I
but but I'm just saying in general, when you sit
know
back
what
and you
you
think
mean.
when you sit back and think about that, right now is guess what? Like people do not understand power, money, what people would do,
Mhm.
leverage. And what I'm saying is if there's certain things, the do's and don'ts, and it still go back to right now when we talk about mental health. When you got some of these individuals that hold these high position within countries, they
Right.
they call shots within a country. Who to say that they're stable? Who to say that they don't have mental health issue? That they like right now is like they don't have mental illness because with some of the things that they doing, it's like they don't give a f. So they
Mhm.
don't give a f. Wait a minute, hold up. How the heck we are letting these folks run our country when they cuckoo? Come on, there's something wrong with that picture, and I think it go back hand in hand.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing is no one person runs America, and we know that. Who runs America exactly? I mean, that all can be up for debate. Uh, However, the good thing is that no one man makes the decisions for the entire country. It is a whole legislative body and people and entities that sort of help to move policy along. And so, yes, perhaps, we are dealing with major issues of, still racism and, all sorts of isms and people who have their agenda that they want to see complete and filled. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't necessarily see Trump any different from the rest, to be honest. It's just the way the package is presented. One package is presented as, you know, insane, and the other is packaged as well put together. I mean, what has been the outcome for people of color? That's the question. What have we what have we gotten out of any of them in terms of things that really address our needs as a race?
And you're right. Probably, like to me, it's a lot of things like from the political standpoint that I have been staying away from. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until like probably let me see, like man, I'm trying to go back. I can remember voting for the very first time. And
Mm-hmm.
because once again, like here it is, when you grew up in the street or you have that street mentality, it's a lot of stuff that we stay away from. But once
Mm-hmm.
again, when you get your right back and you start like like trying to understand the process, that don't speak about certain things if you're not going out there to vote, if you're not going to make your vote count. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think voting is important, but at the same time, I feel like we also need to see people that are really willing to do something that's going to make a difference in our life. It's unfair that people who are, descendants of servitude slaves are like pushed into a society or forced in a society to just compete as though the other people didn't have a 400-year head start. And that to me is really unfortunate, to be paying the same taxes, to be paying the same interest rates on loans, to be given in many ways the same life expectancy when we really don't. I mean, we die significantly premature. I mean, it's really, really unfair. And it's not just servitude slavery. You're talking about, everything from Jim Crow to civil rights. It's only been the last, 20, 30 years you've seen any real, significant feeling as though there's some kind of peace between, people of color and the rest of the country. But definitely Black people have been treated very unfairly in this country, and the expectations are extremely high for people who did not have the kind of leverage that non-Black people have, you know? And so I don't know. I don't know what to say about any of the presidents and their situation, but I can say that our health outcomes and our financial uh, disparities compared to other people in the country, it's horrific. It's almost scary. The household income for a Black family on, and this is medium, this is average, this is not saying that there's not people that are making millions and millions of dollars. I'm not talking about you, but for the most part, the Black family compared to a white family is like $4,000 versus a white family that has about $130,000. So
Hegum Good or Renee Mitchell. Well, I haven't, Glaze. I am into politics. Yes, we know that you are. Shout out to Renee Mitchell. Shout out to Renee Mitchell. Like she says, she's definitely into politics or whatever. You know,
yeah,
even with that, I think right now we on 43 minutes. Let's talk
yeah,
about something totally different, like
yeah.
drink champion. Noriega had the opportunity. What he did, he based right now on, I guess they about to drop the Murder Inc. documentary, and
Mm,
had Ja Rule and Herb Gotti up there. And right now is the topic of conversation is like, the ups and downs of Murder Inc. And
mm,
for some reason right now the topic, like for me, from what I was hearing, all the backlashes is like how he stood on the subject of Ashanti and his and her relationship. And to me, like I tell you right now, is honestly speaking, like I'm like this, you know, what the sense you being at the time the head of Murder Inc., you being a quote unquote married man, and right now it's like here it is, and not only that, you are how much older than that young lady? Right now is I don't even know, and I'm not trying to start nothing or whatever. Was y'all both at age, or was it statutory or whatever? I don't know.
oh gosh, you
But but I,
really starting something
but
here.
I'm just saying in general, like here it is, like even on that broadcast, like you look at it, they got what close to 3 million people that view
Mm-hmm.
that subject matter of what they were speaking about, and you on there, speaking about you and this woman relationship and all this other things, and you going back and forth. What about your wife at the time? How do you think right now, is as she listened to that, how do you think she feel? What
Mm.
about your kids? What about Ashante? What about her family? And what I'm saying, you just kept going on and on and on and on. And then it's not even like, it seemed like you was bitter.
Mm.
It seemed like you was like resentful. It seemed like you had so much of animosity built up inside of you that it was like mind boggling. Like, and not only that, it seemed like you was having a mental breakdown,
Mm.
right there in front of us. Even
Wow.
as you were drinking that, what they call it, the truth serum.
The truth, sir. Well, I mean, some things you just don't fully understand. Again, was he doing it for publicity so that he can get a buzz, so that he can get people talking, and everyone is absolutely talking about his antics on Drink Champs, and the way in the way he actually was very disrespectful um, about Ashante and their relationship. And I think what was most disappointing, that it just wasn't really necessary because he is an older man, and it's sad to see men in a particular age group acting like children, and it goes back to feeling confident to be vulnerable in front of those who you think should be protecting you. And to me, as a black man, uh, yeah, he should be there to protect his children, and I'm sure he's doing whatever he's supposed to do financially, protect his ex-wife, um, and protecting their mind and their heart, not just with the money, because money isn't everything. um, so yeah, it had to be very disappointing. I'm sure, we've been trained to, like, as long as I'm getting the bag, as long as I'm getting the bag, you can say whatever, you can do whatever, you can, be whomever. But that doesn't, the bag isn't a reason to disrespect or humiliate anyone. And yeah, I was very disappointed as a woman of color, um, someone who can see themselves as, Ashante's auntie or big sister, that a fellow, brother would be going in like that. I thought it was very immature, and it really made him look like desperate and bitter. It was sad to watch, because in all reality, he really didn't need to do that. Like, whatever respect he has out here, he has, whatever relationships he's built, his wealth he's built, whatever he's done, it's good for him. No one has any love or hate for him any way. And the fact of the matter is, people are going to watch the documentary to watch it. It is a really good story of rags to riches and what you can do, right? Coming from the communities where we don't have those kinds of resources all the time, and to build an empire for yourself and to overcome a federal indictment. So there's a lot of positive that he could offer without saying not a word about Ashanti. There, like Ashanti, she's just was another artist on the label. But the way that he went, and it was almost like he had some kind of anger, or he was agitated, and it did seem like he was having somewhat of an emotional breakdown about it. And maybe it had to do, again, because he was stimulated through the truth serum, right? That altered his thinking. And I don't know, would he have done that if he wasn't drinking? I don't know. Um, but a man of his stature and of his age also should have known to control his drinking if he felt it would make him act other than himself.
Yeah, that was something definitely different. And like you said right now, is it's crazy. But um, here it is. Look what Renee say. Let's talk about good news as a black woman. If you're a business owner or nonprofit, you have to depend on donation or grant. But it's hard to exactly get contract with the city or the state.
Mm. Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
right now, like what she's talking about. It's like, let's talk about the good news as black women. If you're a business owner or a nonprofit, you have
Hmm.
to depend on donation or grant, but it's hard to exactly get contract with the city or the state. And the difference right now is it basically go back to politics. It's
Mm,
basically go back to who like who. Because once again, right now is you can have your own nonprofit organization right now is, and it's up to me whether I want to donate to that cause or not. It all depends upon right now is like a lot of times people do not understand. It's never something for nothing. It's always something for something. A
mm,
lot of times people don't want to accept that, but reality is reality. Because once again, like I say right now, is when you out there and you seeking to do things, how do we get these grants? How do we get these donations? How do we get people to buy into what we are putting out there? And it's sad, but the reality of it is right now is you have to be great. You have to be great. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? So what's you going? But my organization, Breaking the Cycle Drop Crop, is officially a vendor with the state. Okay. And congratulations. Because once again, like I said right now, there's so many different programs that's out there. Like, we as people that don't know nothing about that, you know what? And you know what, Renee? I know you come in and you're very supportive. One day we gotta bring you up on the platform. So right now is opposed to like, like I say, I appreciate your support and I appreciate everything that you're doing. But sometime right now when we get like probably what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to put on a schedule and bring on so we can talk about some of these things. Because
Yeah,
once
she can definitely talk about the steps that it takes to become, a NWBE, a minority woman business entrepreneur, to get that certification, the application process, all of that is really detailed and it's important information. And even if you have that, like you said, it's still important to find people that are going to work with you as an organization and build that trust between you and other vendors so that you can have that, kind of cross pollination and be a resource to organizations. So it's a very detailed process, and I think it's something to discuss. I think sometimes we, as minority businesses, aren't always ready for the opportunity. There's certain certifications and insurance and things that we need. And like you said, it takes money to make money, and we don't always have the money to invest in all the things that we need to get our business up and running and to become, a really serious contender in a very, very deep sea.
yeah, and like I said right now, that's what we're gonna wind up doing. Right now is I know next week we got a special guest coming next week, next Friday. We'll have no other than Captain Dennis Muhammad.
Right.
Do you want to give a brief breakdown?
Yeah, so Captain Dennis Muhammad, from the leader of the Peacekeepers, national and international. Captain Muhammad has been working on the front lines to support, communities of color around this country for years. He's a former captain in the Nation of Islam and has started his own organization, the Peacekeepers. I was at one time the national spokesperson for Peacekeepers. And so it is an organization that provides support in communities where the men who live in the community in many ways they kind of like sort of protect their communities. They go out, they spend an hour or so a day, sort of like walking their communities and engaging the young people so that it's a way to, as a deterrent or a way to reduce criminogenic behaviors in communities. And so Dr. not Captain Muhammad, Doctor, I always see him as a doctor. I call him Uncle Dennis. Uncle D will be here next Friday with us live and in person. We really appreciate him, and we'll hear all about what he's doing and get his take on, how do we save our young people? What advice does he have for us, and what solutions would he recommend for all of us to kind of help uh, to fix our communities?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, because once again, like I tell you right now, where it's like, to me, like, look what you're talking about. Here it is. He was a captain in the Nation of Islam. And even right now, he started his own organization. How, right now to get back. And a lot of times, you got people that are successful. Do we even take the time to get back? Or do we drop the ball and say, you know what, listen, that's everybody else's problem. That's not my problem. So
Mhm.
those are things right now that we got to, anytime somebody able to take the time out of their busy schedule to join forces with us, I'm willing, ready, and able. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So shout out to Captain Dennis, Muhammad. And right now, make sure y'all tune in next Friday, right now at 6 exactly. And, on the 19th of August, August 19th, 20. 2022. What's so funny?
Nothing.
What's so funny?
Nothing. We'll leave that.
Yeah, Renee, we gotta get you on. We probably shoot for you the following week. Glaze, you have lived experience. The politician I'm looking for that now turned BBG into a corporation. Yeah, and you know what? That's the stuff. That's what we're working towards. We're working towards good things, folks. It's not about me anymore. Right now, I'm an old man. At this present time, I don't live. But you know what? Like I say, how do I right my wrong? How do I get back? How do I utilize this platform? Near 63,000 subscribers. How do we utilize this platform for the better good to
Yes.
get back? Saying talk about different things that can be beneficial. Teaching these kids how to go out there to, present and conduct themselves on an interview to get a job. Letting them know right from wrong. Those are things that we want to do.
Well, that's nice, Linwood. Oh God. Dr. Elisa needs a BBG t-shirt. Okay. I'm sorry you don't like the shirt I'm wearing today.
Hey, look, right now you a fashion fit. You look, somebody gonna come up with you with a clothing line. Hey, listen, we want you to wear our product. We want you to, talk my hair care and all this other stuff or whatever.
Oh my
But
God.
but but you know what? Listen, it's on a serious note. Get them up them tunes to the black people. Okay. Linwood, thank you, thank you. But once again, like that's what it's all about. Like right now is like we had, like saying, a nice amount of people here today, and I appreciate that. But what I
Mhm.
appreciate more so than anything, clean, clean cut energy. Right now is nothing negative. And that's what I respect more so than anything. Because once again, like I say that drama for somebody else, man. Say that, what we talk about mental health. Nobody want to tackle these topics. When people go flipping off, when you got some of these bloggers that's on YouTube and you watching them live, going crazy, talking all type of stuff or whatever, you got to ask yourself, what's going on? Is these guys actually having a breakdown? Because once again, why the heck I'm gonna go live and I know I'm not feeling right. I know I'm not right. I don't want nobody to see that. But sometimes that's the way of people crying for help.
Right. Do you think there's, just a feeling of like complete frustration? Like people are just frustrated with some of our antics and trying to hold us accountable, and sort of in their way of sharing that information, they just become very passionate about it.
I don't. What I'm thinking, honestly speaking, me to you for the most part. Some of these individuals, they get on here, and I think, honestly speaking, they be intoxicated.
Mm,
They be, and then right now is guess what? And they be overindulge because once again, the behavior, the pattern, everything else. Because it
mhm.
doesn't, you got to sit back and think about it. When you watch some of these individuals, you can sit back and you watch and they so emotional and they start acting a radical. Wait a minute here. And sometimes, you know why? Because you're not right there. You're only looking on the screen. And
Yeah.
on the screen, you're not able to smell the alcohol coming off their breath. Are you not able to, all that chemical that they're probably put in their body?
Mm.
So once again, you got a lot of them right now where they be toast. And then they get up here and like right now is acting like DMX. Y'all going to make me lose my mind. Up in here, up in here. Y'all gonna make me act. Wait a minute. Hold up. We don't see them right now when that camera's off. Like they don't go, 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 go. Come on. Because right now they
Well,
be
I mean,
acting,
some of our behavior is enough to make you want to.
yeah. But you still it still
But
gotta
I
be.
understand what you're saying. There's a way, there's a time and place for everything and a way to act. So I completely understand.
Yeah, and that's the difference. That's what we want people to understand. And like I say, each his own. Because once again, what we're going to do is right now, like I told you, to me, like I say, I already got it set up. What we got right now is next Friday, we will definitely be bringing Captain Dennis Muhammad. And who knows, probably the 26th, we will be bringing in Renee Mitchell. So she, she coming up here and we can talk about right now. She's a director for the homeless. She got heart programs. She got different things going on. So right now, why not? And those are things right now was I don't mind bringing in people on the platform. Like I said right now, long as it's positive, long
Mm-hmm.
as it's powerful, long as it's clean cut, and long as it's giving back. Because like I say, that's the BG movement. It's best to give than receive. And right now, we'd be surprised, like by making the right connection, what we all can accomplish together.
Absolutely. And it's great to have a venue or the resource like the BGG movement to continue to promote positive energy and positive thoughts. So, positive information. So, I'm happy to be here and be a part of it.
Mhm. And folks, listen, like we are in the work. Right now is hopefully going to iHeart, going to what's the other one? iHeart on Apple. Like I'm saying, we are in the work of taking this. So it's on YouTube at this present time, but right now we are in the process of taking it to the next level. So once again, we appreciate all the support. Make sure right now you hit the like button, you subscribe. And not only that, what I want you to do is right now, everybody's on this platform. You know what? Copy, paste, send it to people on your telephone, message, send it to people on your IG, DM, send it to people on Facebook, Messenger, share. If you felt right now with some of the things that we talked about today that was helpful and can be beneficial to you and others, please, right now, the greatest right now appreciation would be sharing.
Hmm.
Sharing is caring.
And so, do we want to leave them with a quote? Because we didn't start with a quote.
Go
What,
ahead.
what should we leave with them with a quote?
Do you want to quote? I can go back and say what I said earlier. It's up to you. What you want? What you got?
Well, I know, we always close with what you say because I think that's important. Much prayer gives you much better um,
Huh?
outcomes, right?
You
I
started to sound like my man.
Yes, much
Hey,
prayer
hey.
is extremely important. So, mindset. We talked a lot about mental health today, right? And so, it's also about a mindset in terms of we as a people, how we understand behaviors, what we normalize, what we consider appropriate or inappropriate, and what we tolerate. And at what point will we really protect each other? At one point will we really begin to trust one another? So it all starts with the mindset. So mindset, the driving force in the quest for success and achievement, a mindset that combines discipline, strength, confidence, and ambition is a powerful mindset. This can achieve anything it sets its sights on. A powerful mind can achieve anything.
Wow. Hey, folks, I don't even know if I can top that. But there's two things I'm going to say before we end this night is this. Something we spoke about. Things to normalize for black men. One, going to therapy. Two, asking for help. Three, mental health issue. Four, showing emotion. Five, speaking up. Six, not being okay. Okay. Besides that, I always want to end. Like I said, right now, I had a great weekend. I had a great week, rather. It's been a long week. I've been traveling, got stuck at the airport. I'm traveling now. Right now, it's guess what? Supposed to be on vacation, in the sun on the beach. But you know what? Family, certain things took place. And right now, sometimes you have to drop what you're doing to come support your loved ones during certain situation and circumstance. That's what life is all about. So to me, that beach, the sun, it's not going nowhere. But your loved one, when they need you right now, you have to be as supportive as possible. And what I want everybody to do is this, man. Stay pray up. No prayer equal no power. Less prayer equal less power. More prayer equal more power. Much prayer equal much power. And right now, what I want you to do is make sure y'all go and subscribe to Dr. Elisa World on her YouTube channel. Where we at right now?
Maybe about 1.6, 1.7.
Hey, man, listen. See, shout out, folks. Shout out. Make sure you spread the word because once again, she got a hell of a platform, and I like the stuff that she had. But besides that, or whatever, what I'm looking at and what I'm seeing is this. With her, with Terrence, and hopefully right now we'll all be able to get in the conference and doing something with Terrence real soon. Shout out to critique ICU Studio because once again, he putting certain things together. And right now, you might see me, the Doc, Terrence, all live together, going wow.
I
I don't,
always wanted to ask you, what is that?
I don't know. Wow, that's a New Orleans thing. I don't
Oh,
think
that's
he,
a New Orleans thing. It's like a way that they communicate. You know, we from New York. We always think everything that New Yorkers do is done or everywhere, but like that one, I definitely didn't know anything about. So
yeah. So, but once again, like I said right now, is guess what,
it
folks?
lacks. Oh,
Yeah, I put it
nice.
back up there.
It lacks. It lacked class. Says a lot about his character. What lacked class?
Probably on the Herb Gotti situation.
Oh,
Probably
yeah,
about the Herb Gotti
yeah.
situation.
We're very
And right now,
disappointed.
yeah.
You know, we're gonna always love Earth, but that was really disappointing.
Hey, but like I say right now, folks, we got a lot of good things going on, and we doing a lot of good things or whatever. And what it is all about right now: support, man, support, support, support. That's what the difference. Look, here comes somebody. Wah, see, wah, whatever. I get it
That
right
one,
one day.
one.
I get it right.
MT3. That did help me to really fully understand what it means. It's
It's the
it's
old
the
way in New
old way
Orleans.
in New Orleans. Okay, all
Okay.
right. Is
Hey,
that
look,
the way? So when
somebody
I
say,
come
look,
down there, I need to do that in order
somebody
for
say
people
it's a
to.
greeting for us down south.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Hey, look. Hey, but like I told you folks, this man. Shout out to Terrence Gangster William, man. His platform is on fire, man. And right
Hmm.
now, was I saw a video that this man did the other day, and right now is like what I like about it, and I'm not gonna tell you no lie. It was so genuine. It was nothing artificial about it. It was just so genuine, man. Like this guy right now, to me, is more funnier than Kevin Hart will ever be. And guess what? He don't even try. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close with this piece. I got to close this piece. Boy, y'all ain't gonna believe what I got right now. Look what I come on. Look what I got. Yo, check this out. Shout out to Sucky Yo Laces. They saw me with my clogs and my slippers, right? So they said, you know what? Let's send Terrence Gangster Vision the original Hot Boy some shoes. So they said, these ain't what's out yet, y'all. Yo, man, yo, these, hold, man, let me sit down. I gotta sit down for this here. Man, got me some press Jordans. Hold on. Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. Fresh J's, man. Sucking your laces. They didn't send me some fresh J's. Hold on. So I ain't gotta wear these here. Get that stuff. Hold on, man. You gotta love this here. Fresh J's. Some fresh J's. Yo. How you do that little thing? They do that little. Huh? I learned that later. But check. Let me make sure they ain't no knockoff. Hold on. They got the. They got that on. Yeah, these the real deal, y'all. Sucking your laces. Got a cop and make sure y'all support them. Wow. Hey, you saw his little dance. Hey, you saw his little dance, a little move right there. Hey, look, man. That's what I'm saying right now. This dude is just genuine, man. Just genuine, man. Yo, shout out to make sure y'all go subscribe to Dr. Elisa World. Right now, subscribe, support. Right now is hit the notification button, donation, whatever. Right now, peace, love, and prosperity. Thank y'all for joining us. Now it's time to say goodbye to all our lovely friends. Somebody asked me for an audiobook, man. I gotta get busy, man. They asked me for an audiobook. You know what? You know what? We need another audiobook, man. It's just tedious. It's a tedious process, man. It's a tedious process. Hey, now it's time to say goodbye to all our lovely friends. MIC, see you real soon. KEY, why? Because we love you. MOUS, me, Mickey Mouse. I don't know. Hey, next week, y'all. Next week.
We love you. Thank you.
Okay.